and welcome. Welcome one and all to the lovely moment of the week, the Thursday stream here on the Warren Hayes channel, Mr. Warren Hayes channel, Mr. Warren Hayes show channel. I'm Warren. It's really funny how I decided to wear my black t-shirt and now the microphone just sort of melds with me. There's like no definition. I need just an extra light to punch like from behind me. Just like come and illuminate the microphone this way. And then it'd probably cause lens flares in the camera there. It would be awesome. I'd be like J.J. Abrams. Thursday, man. On the cusp of the weekend. How the blazes. How the fucking hell is everyone? Did I start swearing too soon on stream? Is YouTube gonna demonetize me because I said swears? You know, the one thing that I have noticed because of YouTube demonetization policies on, you know, in regards to language, you know, and so on and so forth, it's completely infected a certain generation of humans, of very young adults who have grown up, you know, with who have grown up with watching YouTube and having people not being able to say like actual words, right? Or actual expressions, right? Like ending yourself as opposed to just like using suicide. It's like, so you hear that everywhere now. It's like, holy smokes, can't we just use like the real words? And it goes for YouTube as well. Like at some point then it's like, like on the live, exactly. And what's there's a couple of others too. Pew pew for the gun, and then they'll use corn instead of porn when we want to talk about pornography. They'll say corn because it escapes the filters or whatever, the demonetization filters. Listen, I don't think I have ever truly checked myself, in things that I say on these streams. I don't think, I think when it has been appropriate, I have used the actual words, right? I've never been demonetized. Is it because I'm too small a channel? Maybe there's an extra focus on the really big million-plus channels, but it's preposterous. It's preposterous. And then, because the thing is that when you do get into, but this one's funny. Like they don't say pedophile. You can't say pedophile, but they'll say PDF file. And that I kind of think is funny. That one I think is funny. I think that's clever and funny. I think corn instead of porn is lame. Just say porn. Just say porn. And if you want to say porn that much on your fucking stream, maybe you should be demonetized. I don't know. See, the thing is that I understand. I understand what the concept is. But then, like, YouTube I think YouTube should just stop policing it that hard. I don't understand exactly. Look, from what I understand in the rules, when it comes to, foul language, risque, spicy language used on YouTube videos or on streams, every time when you do your YouTube video, you have to say, there's a little form you have to fill out. Say, are you using this type of language? Blah, blah, blah. Is there this type of imagery? Are there children in your video? Blah, 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 blah. And in the rules, it says, you can use a certain amount of profanity. They just don't like it within like the first 30 seconds. Then after that, I think after I think after you've passed the 30-second threshold, you can say whatever the fuck you want. I just think it's really annoying. It's annoying when you get into really serious topics and you're covering things very seriously. You know, let's say you're covering the very sad death of of someone who took their own life. Well-known public figure, whatever. Who cares, right? And you're talking about it in a very serious tone, and instead of talking about suicide, you have to say they unalived themselves. I'm like, stop it. This is poison at this point. It's just poison. It's not even interesting. It's not even cool. It's poison. Jesus Christ. Why did I get triggered about this? I think I auto-triggered myself, which is something that I am highly capable of doing. Anyway, I don't remember what we were talking. Why we went down this path, but YouTube is a weird place. It has very strange rules and for that type of content. But look, I'm happy here. I like the streams. I don't know. It's working out just nice and peachy for me. Then again, like I'm a hobbyist. I'm not a professional. I don't do this for a living. That's why that's why I often say, right? Like if I were doing this for a living, like this was my job, I'd probably have different opinions about how things are conducted and so on and so forth, right? I most likely would, but it's not the case. So it's fine. There's smudge. No, there's no smudge. Oh, okay. Losing my eyesight, folks. Add that to the pile. Yeah, so it's Thursday. It's Thursday. We're encroaching upon the end of the week. And I hope you had a good week. I hope you had a good one. I had a pretty good one as well. There's it's mostly work and watching wrestling, at this stage, and playing a little Mugenics. That's essentially, outside of, taking care of the dog and hanging with my kid and so on and so forth, and cooking and feeding and all, all that stuff. But I got to tell you, the New Japan Cup, like right now, I am watching the New Japan Cup and the Stardom Cinderella tournament. And I got to tell you, there is an extreme difference between the two as far as excitement, match quality, intensity. The New Japan Cup has been a bit of a bore so far. Whereas I'm sitting down and I'm rubbing my hands together, excited at the prospect of the Cinderella tournament. And they're not stretching this out. This is like, it's going to be done by the weekend, I believe. Like there were matches yesterday, which I didn't have an opportunity to get around to watch yet, which apparently there's a couple in there which are truly excellent. No, I'm not surprised either. And I'm pretty sure everything wraps up this weekend, right? I'm pretty sure. Let me just take a look here. Just pull this up here. Oh, there's no brackets. Yeah, here's the bracket. Yeah, March 15. And this started like a week ago, or not even a full week ago. It started like just a couple of days ago, like on the 6th. Well, just about a week ago. And then on the 15th, we're going to be done. We've got the finals. One of the unsung qualities of Stardom, in my opinion, is that this promotion will never waste your time. This promotion will always be respectful of your time as a viewer. And your mileage can vary on that front. Some people like, long matches. The longer the better. Some people don't care for it as much. But like 15-minute time limits on every match means that there's got to be a lot of shit that happens before it comes to a crashing halt type of thing. I got nothing but good stuff to say about this tournament so far. So I'm very excited to get to sink my teeth into the quarterfinals. I'm very excited to see how that's going to turn out. And then we're going to get into the semifinals, and then we're going to get into the finals. So that's very exciting. Whereas the New Japan Cup, brother, it has been it's been, look, I'm here saying that it's not good this year, guys. But then I'm thinking back, like, when's the last time the New Japan Cup has really been good? Like, when is the last time the New Japan Cup has been, like, and I mean good? And not in recent memory. Really not in recent memory. I feel like the New Japan Cup is always extremely iffy. Terribly iffy. I mean, this is a tournament this year where they are demanding of you to sit and watch Shota Umino and Chase Owens for 15 minutes. You know, how long was the match? I think it was around 15 minutes, but the longest 15 minutes of your life. More like 20. 19 minutes and 40 seconds, according to Cage Match. The longest match you will have ever watched, trust me. Just interminable. No one wants to see that, but here we go. Anyway, I got a full article up on Voices of Wrestling right now, if you want to go check it out. A full article discussing the booking woes of New Japan Pro Wrestling, specifically centered around Aaron Wolf. And let me tell you, kids, it's a good article, but I don't hold back. And I mean, that's it. You see things like this. You see things like Chase Owens and Shota Umino, and you just shrug and you go, "What the fuck am I watching? Why do I have to watch Chase Owens for 20 minutes? What are we doing here?" And then there was also Ryohei Oiwa and Yuto Ice that I thought was going to be interesting, but turns out that it wasn't. It was very bog standard, very average. But the one thing that did stand out to me, though, is Oiwa, when he was done, he stepped out of the ring. You know, he got his he got on the mic, did the little post-show promo, right? And his post-victory promo, because they were in the main event. And then he goes out of the ring and he takes his time going around to high-five the audience and take selfies, and he's smiling, and you can tell that he's enjoying himself. You can tell that he's taking great pleasure in high-fiving the fans and fist bumping and taking pictures. And I'm like, there's a baby face right there. That's fucking great baby face behavior right there. It's very Hiroshi Tanahashi of him, the way he was handling it. You know, if you remember Tanahashi, you know, he'd go down into the audience, you know, and he'd wipe his sweat, you know, onto towels and whatnot, and give them back to the audience, and he'd take his sweet time. And that, to me, that's been the standout of the New Japan Cup so far. Now, we're getting Oiwa versus Zack Sabre Jr. in the next round. That should be fun. But holy shit, it is not a great tournament so far. It is not great. Anywho, what is great is the people coming in to say, "Hello, WarrenHayes," and to hang out here while we talk about professional wrestling here for a little bit, because that's what we're going to do. Meggy O'Kenna. Nice to see you, Meggy. Welcome to the chat. Also, Maggie is a member of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel here on the YouTube. Ooh, yeah. We got Travis here, AEW1. Nice to see you and welcome to the chat. Thank you. I appreciate you enjoying the countdown music the way you do. The way you do the things you do is terrific. Sports. Why did I stutter? Sports and things shows. Carlos. Hello. Welcome to the chat as well. Hey, Zach McGibbon. How you doing, Gibby? Welcome to the chat, brother. It's nice to see you. Thank you for the kind compliment regarding the spam hat. I wore it to match with the sticker here that's on my. What happened to the album release, Warren? What album? What are we talking about? I'm not a musician. I'm a dope. I'm a big old dopey. Oh, you mean like the countdown music? I just didn't get around to it. Is that what we're talking about? I just didn't do it. That's all there is to it. Probably somewhere, sometime I'll do something like that. I don't know. So tonight, folks, we're gonna be we got a few topics to talk about, of course, per usual, and we're also going to be previewing the big AEW Revolution show this weekend, which is going to be a tremendous opportunity for everyone to enjoy All Elite Wrestling. I don't know why I don't know. So we'll be doing that. We got a couple of topics and so on and so forth. So we got ourselves a good Thursday night stream. We really do. We really do. So thank you very much for being here. If you haven't already, leave a like on this stream. That's good. It tells YouTube that hey, people like this actually, and maybe we should promote it a bit. And I'd be like, so like I mentioned, I do have an article out. I do have an article out on voicesofwrestling.com, which is where basically I break down the Aaron Wolf, the Aaron Wolf booking situation over in New Japan, and make the argument that if it's not working out, it certainly isn't Aaron Wolf's fault so far. Anyway, I don't think there's enough to judge as to whether it's his fault or not. Anyway, you should give that a read. You should check it out. And of course, my article on the departure of Evil and the what will remain of the House of Torture, again in New Japan. That article that was published in Pro Wrestling Illustrated is out there digitally right now. The May issue is available digitally right now if you'd like to have a little piece of Warren Hayes with you physically, or you can, then you can pre-order the magazine or just pick it up on your local newsstand as well. These issues are, well, this issue, if you want to buy it digitally, or if you want to pre-order it, get on over to pwi-online.com and you order it, and you say, I ordered it because Warren Hayes is in it. And then I turn into a draw, and they want me to write all the time. So that's pretty much how it goes. Oh, and I also recorded an edition of the PWI podcast, which I was invited on to give sort of a state of New Japan. I'm talking a lot about New Japan in my articles and my stuff these days, but there you go. I'm not quite sure when it's going to be released, but keep an eye out. Keep an eye out on my socials, on the Pro Wrestling Illustrated socials, and it'll make the rounds. There you go. All right. I think that's pretty much it. I believe that just covers everything we needed to cover right now. So that means that we are going to head on over and kick this mother off properly. That's right.
Just let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a nunchuck master, and I represent NWA, Mountain State Wrestling. Hoo-yah!
Low key on this one. Hey, Patrick, nice to see you, man. Welcome to the chat. Patrick also happens to be a member of the MrWarrenHayes Show channel. That's good stuff. There we go. We're good. Thank you, Jacques, for everything you do for us. I heard Jacques had a similar main event press conference when he was in Mountain State. Oh, boy. oh, boy. Hey, Lady Layton, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. Yes, you made it just in time. You just squeezed in right on schedule. Good for you. Yeah, there's a lot of goings on. There's a lot of things happening. I mean, if you want to hear me talk about the press conference that happened then on AEW last night, AEW Dynamite, you do know I have an AEW Dynamite review, and I talk about it there. That's it. I won't relitigate everything, but please, feel free to. Right here on YouTube, on your favorite podcast application, every week, AEW Dynamite review right into your ear holes. Every single week, unless I can't, or I get sick, or I die. You laugh, but it's happened before. So let's start things off here talking about this little piece of business here, a little exclusive reporting here from the Post Wrestling Group. Bunch of people involved in this one, let me tell you. Here's the article that we're going to read off the website. ESPN dropped WWE letter grades from reviews after WWE pushback, according to multiple sources. Well, now, let's read this article. Sounds very interesting. I don't know if you guys know about it yet, but you're about to. ESPN put a stop to letter grades in its editorial reviews of WWE premium live events after WWE's objections, according to multiple sources familiar with the matter. Letter grades rating a pro wrestling show may seem inconsequential. This is some editorializing, though. This is not Whether a content provider, though, like WWE, can influence the editorial practices of a major broadcast partner like ESPN is a more significant issue. In case you're not getting the whole picture, Brandon and John here just spelled it all out for you. WWE's involvement in the removal of the letter grades was first reported by the Wrestling Observer newsletter last week, citing, quote, someone on the WWE side had gotten the use of letter grades killed. Now, I didn't really talk about it, but I did see, because it for multiple reasons, right? But I did see that go by, and I thought it was interesting, but there really wasn't anything more to bite down on. It's, Dave bringing it up, and then people going after Dave per usual, saying no, that's wrong. Dave again making shit up. An ESPN spokesperson declined to provide comments for this report. However, one source with knowledge of ESPN's approach maintained that the decision to discontinue letter grades was ESPN's alone, and that WWE did not request the change. When pressed to explain the reasoning for the removal of grades and whether WWE took issue with the reviews, the source declined to respond further. WWE did not require inquiries from Post, including a request to respond to whether WWE expressed discomfort with any aspect of the WWE PLE reviews that included letter grades on ESPN.com. The reviews were written by ESPN Combat Sports reporter Andreas Hale, covering the same premium live events whose broadcast rights ESPN recently acquired in a 5-year, $1.6 billion media deal, bringing WWE's biggest events to streaming platform ESPN Unlimited. The first PLE as part of that deal, WrestlePalooza, on September 20, received a C grade in Hale's review, which drew significant attention from fans and media. Hale went on to review the following month's PLE, Crown Jewel, in October, giving it an overall B grade. Since then, Hale has published post-event reviews of WWE PLEs, but without letter grades applied to the event overall or to the matches individually as he had before. It's worth noting that Hale's reviews of UFC events also use letter grades and have continued to as recently as for this past weekend's UFC 326 event. Isn't that interesting? His UFC reviews have consistently used letter grades, including while ESPN held UFC broadcast rights and well before August 2025, when it was announced UFC would leave ESPN in favor of Paramount. Hale did not provide a comment when contacted by Post Wrestling. ESPN's decision contrasts with promises made by executives at the beginning of its new broadcast relationship with WWE. On a media call on September 17, just before the $325 million per year deal went into effect, ESPN executives were asked if ESPN's reporters would still have full independence in how they cover WWE. Senior Vice President of ESPN Plus, John Lasker, was clear. I think the answer to that is an emphatic yes. At this point, Think does a lot of heavy lifting in this school. The other executive on the call, then Vice President of Programming and Acquisitions, Matt Kenny, who moved to CBS Sports in October, agreed. Unequivocal yes. That's separation of church and state. In their roles, Lasker and Kenny were not necessarily overseeing ESPN's journalistic work. However, Post Wrestling contacted ESPN's editorial leadership for comment, but they did not provide statements. Hale authored a piece with original comments from Seth Rollins, which ran on September 18, 2 days before WrestlePalooza, the event Hale gave a mixed review. Since then, ESPN's digital reporters, who previously had frequent access to WWE talent, haven't had a new story with original comments from WWE talent. An ESPN spokesperson did not respond to a question about whether ESPN reporters on the editorial side have recently had difficulty getting access to WWE talent. The source with knowledge of ESPN's approach contended there have been no issues with access, pointing to WWE talent appearing on ESPN's televised broadcasts. However, the source did not provide, and we could not find any examples of recent access granted to ESPN's digital editorial staff for original reporting or interviews since September. Hale's 2-letter grade reviews were in line with the consensus of fan opinion of the same events, at least where that the sentiment is measurable on websites that gather crowdsourced ratings for WWE PLEs. On top of it all, WrestlePalooza, which Hale graded a C, currently has an average rating of 2.4 out of 5 based on ratings from about 1,400 users on the Dropkick app, which is very much populated by WWE fans. On cagematch.net, which uses a 10-point scale, WrestlePalooza currently rated 5.31 on an average of ratings from 293 users. Crown Jewel, which Hale graded as a B, has a 4.0 out of 5 on Dropkick and a 8.21 out of 10 on Cage Match. This is all very normal. You know, like All of this is extremely, extremely normal here. WWE's influence over ESPN's coverage of its PLEs follows the company's move this past summer to discontinue its post-PLE press conferences, ending a multi-year practice that gave media direct access to talent and rare access to WWE Chief Content Officer Paul Levesque. Ties between WWE and ESPN run deeper than their relatively new media deal. WWE President Nick Khan spent years as a sports media agent at CAA, representing many ESPN on-air personalities, including Stephen A. Smith and Mike Greenberg. TKO President Mark Shapiro was previously Executive Vice President of Programming and Production at ESPN until 2005. Oh, there's so much going on here, kids. There's so much going on. What an interesting turn of events here. First of all, fuck your mama. Nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. Also, Kristen Ashley. Hello, darling. Welcome to the chat. Also, a member of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel. So, look, there's really a lot to break down here. And you know, the post wrestling guys pointed it out. But I think, not only do I think, I know, I am in complete agreement with them. This does seem to be a case of editorial independence being thrown out the window. It kind of feels like whatever journalistic agency these people covering the WWE had is kind of out the window, right? They literally said on the media call, on the record, despite, the first VP saying, I think the answer is, but straight out said that reporters would have what was unequivocal, right? Unequivocal editorial independence, separation of church and state. Those were the exact words, and it happened anyway. And it seems to have happened anyway. And it's embarrassing, and it's a credibility destroying contradiction at the same time. And the embarrassment in all of this comes from ESPN, bending the knee to WWE over these ratings, right? Over these little ratings that everyone gets upset about for some reason. And yet there's a consensus everywhere that, WrestlePalooza was not a good show. It was voted the worst pay-per-view of the year in the Wrestling Observer Awards this year, for 2025, of course. It seems like it's a lot of it's a lot of sadness. It's a lot of softness, I should say, for just a couple of for just a couple of ratings that weren't even necessarily controversial. I mean, it's a C. C is average. It's passing. It's like, all right, you're fine. It's like, okay, you slide. It's fine. And the ratings everywhere else support the C as well. I mean, the fan base was out there saying, yeah, this wasn't really good. But then people got upset about it. And you know what it is? It's always the same people who get upset about this. It's the same people who get upset at Dave's star ratings. It's the exact same people who get upset at Dave's star ratings, and then will turn around and say, well, Dave is irrelevant and his star ratings don't matter, but they will systematically get upset about it. I think the Venn diagram between the people who complained about the C grade and the people who complain about Dave's ratings is a circle, actually. I think it's exactly the same people. And I don't understand how, first of all, anyone sticks up for a $1 billion company that doesn't care about you, that just cares about you putting your, diving into your pockets and pulling out your credit card. That's ultimately what corporations want from you. I don't know why you care about that, and because they certainly don't care about you. I don't care. I don't understand why they stand up for I don't understand why they stand up for a corporation like that. I don't understand why they do it, and they get into vehement battles about it too. It's not just, I disagree with it. They go out there and they get extremely upset. And the level of insecurity that exists on that level with the people online, going out there to stick up and defend WWE for this is preposterous to me. The level of insecurity that they have in regards to someone not liking the same thing they do is insane. How much of your personality has to be ingrained into this one thing for you to feel like it's a personal attack on you, essentially, right? That's just, it's absolutely crazy. And the thing is that, here's the thing is that Andreas Hale, while, definitely not a journalist that I would consider to be co-opted by WWE. Like, he's not, when I say journalist, let's say media person, let's spread it a little larger. Not a media person that I think is co-opted by WWE, like, like Pete Rosenberg is, like Bubba Ray Dudley is, right? Like, these are people who get checks from WWE, whose credibility is immediately thrown out the window because they're on the payroll. So they're not going to, they're going to be smart, and they're not going to run around talking shit about the hand that feeds them, right? So, but despite that, this is a guy who came up watching WWE. This is not necessarily a guy who I would consider to have like this vast knowledge of pro wrestling. This is a WWE guy. A C coming from him is perfectly fine, and I don't think he would ever go any lower, because that's probably the lowest he would ever go. I would feel. And then the fact that he's still doing it with his UFC reviews, he was doing it before UFC left for Paramount, and he's still doing the grades. That's that to me is very telling. Like it's again proof that the agency that the journalists have is out the door. And here's another thing to keep in mind here. Here's another thing to put into your brain. If ESPN is ready to bend the knee and adapt its editorial policies to make WWE happy, imagine what they're ready to do for the NFL, which, if you recall, owns a 10% stake in ESPN. And WWE doesn't. WWE is just a chump that ESPN is paying for. And then WWE comes after them on top of that and says, hey, on top of all the money you're giving us, you're going to have to do things the way we like. I don't understand what position of power WWE has, or TKO has, in this circumstance. It's crazy for me. The deal, $1.6 billion. It's not ESPN who's getting that money. It's WWE. If I were like truly impartial, ESPN. If I were on ESPN's side, I'd be like, hey, listen, we're already giving you $1.6 billion. You're going to leave us do our thing now. Okay. Enjoy the money. Go put on a good show, and we'll give you some good grades instead. Right. And that's the thing. Like that's the thing. That's one of the things that is the most baffling here. And since, like the article mentioned, right? Since WrestlePalooza in September, ESPN's digital reporters haven't published a single story with original comments from WWE talent, despite previously having really regular access. No one at ESPN or WWE has explained why. So there you go. There's your, on top of it all, there's your access journalism angle going there. It's crazy. Like everything is extremely. It's very scummy. And look, like we've said in the past, or like the article just said, I should say. Nick Khan, before being president of WWE, he was a high-powered wheeling and dealing sports agent. Repping ESPN on-air talent, and then Mark Shapiro was a vice president of. He was previously an ESPN executive, so they know the people in charge there. They can make calls, and it's just they can do it on a friendly basis. They don't even have to be calling necessarily to threaten. It's just like, hey man, do you think you could do something about this? We're pals. We're chums. It's crazy. And all of this does, what all this ends up doing is that it exposes WWE for the soft as fuck people that they are. And it is fascinating to me where you can be on top of the world, making billions of dollars, money hand over fist, and you can get upset at someone slapping an arbitrary grade on your product, despite the fact that you already have all the money. It's not as if WWE has to fight to get the money for the deal. They've already been paid. They've already had the deal sealed. This isn't like a movie where they're absolutely depending on box office receipts and so on and so forth. WWE already has the money in the bank. The money's already spent. It's fine. What do they give a shit about these little ratings that are for fans ultimately? It's just goofy little fan service. What do they care about? That's why when our boy Paul Levesque tells goes on whatever platform he wants to go on and starts talking about how, we don't listen to the internet. Look, we all knew it was bullshit, but now we have more than enough proof that it's bullshit. This is 100% proof that it is bullshit, that this company follows exactly what's going on online and what people are talking about. There's no two ways about it. You can't pretend. If your company has to make a move here because of a bad grade from a publication online, it's ridiculous. And then what does WWE do? Well, it restricts access. It restricts access to their WWE superstars. I wonder how long that's going to last. Now that we're a few weeks out before WrestleMania and, ticket sales are underperforming in regards to TKO's expectations. I wonder how long that's going to take before ESPN has Jade Cargill and Cody Rhodes and CM Punk back on the digital side of things, doing interviews and giving written pieces and whatnot to get some hype. I wonder how long this is going to last. This company, man, just the softest motherfuckers alive. Just like their fans, just like their fans Just like the people with the blue check marks on Twitter that stand up for them. And here's my parting thought on all of this. You know how a lot of these grifters, use the term, right? It's getting a little played out, but you know what I'm talking about. These grifters, they'll always be out there, shitting on Dave Meltzer when, he says something unpopular about WWE, which really doesn't happen all that often. But nonetheless, when it does happen, and what are they going to say? They're going to say, you're a shill, you're paid and bought for by Tony Khan, Dave, so on and so forth. And everyone mocks them and everyone makes fun of them. And you're like, that's, of course you're going to go down that argument because that road, because that's all you got. When I see things like this right here, where WWE clearly sits in a position where they want to control narratives. I'm not making any jokes. Where they want to control narratives and want to make sure that everyone plays ball with them. Sometimes, and how they're able to just like pull access to their people if, certain outlets aren't playing ball. You have to wonder just how far this goes, how deep all of this goes. Because, the fact that these grifters always tend to accuse Dave of being paid for by AEW, maybe it's just a reflection of what actually happens behind the scenes with WWE. I'm not throwing out any accusations. I'm speculating. We're just talking. We're tinfoil hatting this, okay? Maybe since it's what these grifters know, maybe since this is what they're involved in, well, they figure, it must happen on the other side as well. Maybe that's just their natural reaction because that's how it goes. Maybe for some of these outlets, some of these Twitter people, some of these podcasters, maybe that's just how it goes. Oh, you all you do is glaze AEW, you must be paid for. Which is an insane comment to begin with. Because you have to be absolutely fucking brain broken. And I legitimately mean this. You have to be absolutely fucking brain broken to think that someone else might enjoy something else than the thing you enjoy without getting paid. If your only reasoning then is, if he likes this, he has to be paid because there's no way he can like it. That's brain broken rot is what that is. So it leaves me to wonder, maybe it's not just as base level as that. Maybe it's just something very common going around. Exactly, chat. Some projection happening because they see what's going around everywhere on their side of the thing with the people they support. So they figure it probably happens on the other side too. And you know what? Look, maybe it does. Not me. That actually used to be a meme here a few years ago when I was like, we'd joke about me waiting for my checks, my checks from Tony Khan. They still haven't arrived, by the way. And maybe it does happen. I don't know. I don't know of anyone who does it. Definitely in the circles I hang out with, I don't think it would happen with any person that I work with or that I'm associated with. I am very confident in saying that. But, there's all sorts of other outlets other than my little dopey presence on the internet. There's big content creators and whatnot. I don't know what goes on. I don't know what goes on. And I do not care to know either. That's the other thing, most importantly. I don't want to know this shit. If I'm going to find out that, a certain content creator, a certain podcaster, a certain media personality is being paid by AEW, for instance, if I'm going to learn, I want to learn about it at the same time as everyone else. I don't want to be in a group chat at some point and someone saying, "Hey, I've got a confession to make," and I don't want to know. I don't want to know any. That's the kind of shit that I don't want to be complicit in. I want to learn it at the same time as everyone else. But you get my point, right? I hope I'm making my point. I hope I'm making my point clear enough that, there's a fair chance that these people now look, seeing how WWE operates, maybe these people that constantly stick up for WWE, maybe they are in the same type of situation where they have arrangements at the very least. Maybe not, maybe not straight out cash payments, but some sort of, arrangements. And they're just doing projection. This is all speculation, right? We don't know. But I find it very weird that every fucking time it comes up, every time Dave is a shill. Dave is paid for by Tony Khan. Every time. I think there might be, anyway, it kind of makes you think that there might be something going on extra. Anyway, you can look at this, anyway, to close out this story, you can look at this on the level of, it's just ratings. It's just, letter grades. Who cares? You can look at it that way, but it's looking at it absolutely the wrong way. It is, it is a showing of the lack of the loss of agency in that exists in any type of reporting these days, where you see this more and more on a political level. Now, if you're seeing this on goofy sports levels like this with fucking pro wrestling, it's awful. It's awful. And it's goofy. And that's what you should be more angry about, more upset about, that WWE would absolutely spearhead this kind of thing. It's preposterous. Mike McCullough, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. They know they have no shows coming that any fair-minded reviewer would give over a C grade to. Maybe. Maybe. Bill Simmons was suspended by ESPN for criticizing Roger Goodell over the Ray Rice scandal. I think I've heard of this. Eventually let go of ESPN, and that was 2015. I can only imagine ESPN now. Yeah, it'd probably take even less, I feel, at this point. Let's not forget Sam Roberts and O'Shea Jackson Jr. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, Sam Roberts is, look, the thing, again, Sam Roberts is a guy who gets a paycheck from WWE. So, that bothers me. The level like Sam Roberts or the other guy that I just mentioned, Pete Rosenberg. The issue that I have with these two guys, and even a guy like Bubba Ray Dudley, the issue that I have is that they present themselves then as, fair-minded, balanced wrestling fans, right? Oh, we'll talk about wrestling, so on and so forth. And all they end up doing is talking about WWE. They may talk about AEW a little bit, but boy, they're going to skim over it because, but at least they're very open. At least it's an open secret. Like you'd have to be really dopey to not realize that these guys will probably have a penchant for positive reporting on WWE because they're being paid by WWE, because they get cut checks, right? What bothers me is when they present themselves as anything else, and when people act as if they should be acting as people acting as if these people should be balanced in their coverage. And say, well, why didn't? Of course, he's going to hate this. Like, that's an unreasonable expectation to have in regards to those three guys, in this example. When it comes to El Hijo del Ice Cube, he's just a fan with too much money. That's his thing. That's his ordeal. I heard he had, because I don't follow the NBA, but I heard he had a fucking meltdown earlier this week because some guy beat one of Kobe's records or something. Kobe Bryant's records. I see, like, I just know he had an absolute meltdown. And this is a kid born into privilege who has money out the ass and sits around on Twitter and complains and bitches and acts like a stan. It's really, really ridiculous. It's really, really ridiculous. The power that WWE has over ESPN is in the millions of complete marks that will shell out infinite money for stupid things. It's the power of unique user traffic. We got to temper that. Because last week? When did we talk about it on stream? Mark Shapiro was at some kind of event and he was saying, I think I was on one of the only places that really covered it, that talked about it. He was saying, we think that the $30 price point for ESPN Unlimited might be a little prohibitive to our fans. And what did I tell you that meant? Tell me, what did I tell you that meant? It means that the sign up rate or targets, more like that, the sign up targets that ESPN had for WWE were not hit. That's what that means. So Shapiro is going out there and burying his media partners, saying they charge too much for their fucking app and our poors can't sign up because our guys are poor. And then in the meantime, they jack up ticket prices. But that's essentially what he's saying. He's saying it's cost prohibitive for fans to watch WWE on ESPN Unlimited because it's too expensive. So I understand what the sentiment is. I understand the sentiment that you're providing, Meggie, but I think that the perception that WWE is this multi-million person viewer thing, this global brand, I think it's been unraveling since they made the move to Netflix, since they started piecemealing their all of their content to one provider to another. They're barely getting over a million viewers. They're over on Friday Night SmackDown these days, according to the whatever model Nielsen is using these days. They're getting between 2.5 million people on average on Netflix every Monday night, and for Monday Night Raw, and that's available worldwide. That's available across the globe, and so you wonder, is this really truly a global brand? I would argue that out of 8 billion, I believe we are now on planet Earth, something to that effect. You can fact check me on that. I think so. I would say 2 million people watching your streaming show does not make you a global brand. That's a very typical U.S. average. That's a very typical U.S. average watching pattern right there. So, and I can't say this enough. If we've hammered this home again and again, if ESPN saw that the signups for Unlimited had been driven by, WrestlePalooza or whatever else, they would be crowing about it. They'd have their PR wing putting out little graphics saying, Signups up 73% thanks to WWE WrestlePalooza and WWE. But they don't. They haven't said a fucking word about it. Nothing. Nothing. I am not sure. I am starting to think there might be buyer's regret in this circumstance. I'm starting to feel that way. I think they were just old school carnied by these TKO sharks. And now they're sort of looking at what they have left. They're like, oh, well, holy good. Where are all these millions of people? Why aren't they all signing up for $30 a month to watch their PLEs? I mean, it's WWE's own undoing. Don't get me wrong here. This is WWE's own fault at the same time because WWE fans are no longer used to pay $30 a month to $30 a pay-per-view. They were paying since the mid 2010s. They've been paying $10 a month to get everything, not just a PLE, to get everything. Now, a lot of them, you're asking them to shell out $30. Come on now. Come on now. I think the numbers are completely. I think they're whatever they thought they had. They're not able to turn it into concrete results. I am convinced the targets are not being hit. I am convinced. Silver Apocalypse, nice to see you, man. Welcome to the chat. And Mr. Antox, nice to see you too. Welcome to you both. ESPN should restrict access to the amount they show because the product stinks. Yeah, pretty much. That's funny. They were shitting on Dave for showing up on Dynamite that is in his hometown. Exactly. But you see that they don't understand it. They don't understand it. And you know what? I double fucking dare to show for this. None of these assholes enjoy pro wrestling as much as Dave does. I'm sorry to say. None of them enjoy pro wrestling as much as Dave does. Did you see him? Did you see his reactions when Darby was doing the dives? He did that one dive. The reaction he did, it's just phenomenal. And he doesn't have his little phone out, recording himself reacting, cringe. Just a guy at a wrestling show fucking enjoying it, All right. Yes, you're correct. They have hollow numbers, and now ESPN realizing it's been sold a bill of goods. But that's no better than when ESPN is chasing. In what ESPN is chasing, they have shitty ESPN branded poker apps too. Well, I mean, now it's just like trying to get into everything and trying to squeeze as many little pennies out of everyone with whatever your brand can be attached to. I mean, that's just the sadness of it all, right? Big Man Dogs, nice to see you and welcome. WWE is not formatted to be enjoyed by people who aren't already wrestling fans, and questionably even that. So splitting yourself across multiple platforms just bleeds out your niche audience. Yeah. But I mean, they think it's wrestling, the fans. There's never been a WWE deal that the other party weren't unhappy, but we were told via press release to aggregators how happy they were, whether it be Fox or USA. Fox was not happy. Fox was not happy. I would say the only partner they've ever had who has been systematically happy with what they did is USA / who is it again? Universal, NBC Universal. I think NBC Universal were always happy. Not always, because there was a time where Vince fucked off, but they came back. And because USA Network has been, it's a legendary wrestling network. Like it's so wild that there's no wrestling on Monday nights on USA Network. I don't know how many people truly realize that. It's something that hadn't been seen in decades. It's truly wild. And the idea that or the rumor going around is that, well, that WWE gave them SmackDown, took Raw and left, but gave them SmackDown as sort of a make do. It's like, we still like you. We still want to keep that. We still want to keep that relationship open, type of thing. Here you go. Here you go. You can hang on to SmackDown. Anyway. All right. That's enough of that. Let's move on. Here's some news that is very quiet. NXT Stand and Deliver is going to air live on YouTube. Oh, okay. All right. Interesting, right? Okay. Well, let's read the article here off of the Figure 4 Online Observer. With NXT content leaving Peacock soon, there was a big question over where the brand's next PLE would air. We now know that answer. It was announced today being the 12th of March. It was announced today that NXT Stand and Deliver 2026 will stream live on WWE's YouTube channel on Saturday, April 4. The show is taking place at the Factor in Chesterfield, Missouri, and has a start time of 7 p.m. NXT boss Shawn Michaels sent out a tweet this afternoon announcing the broadcast details for the show. We're not reading the tweet. Stand and Deliver has traditionally been NXT's WrestleMania weekend PLE, but WWE made a change this year by moving both the date and location for the show. Under the old schedule, the event took place in the afternoon before the first night of WrestleMania. It will now happen 2 weeks before Mania. NXT content is slated to leave Peacock within the next week. There's been no news as to whether PLEs airing on YouTube will become a regular thing or if this is just a stopgap until WWE reaches a new deal to find a home for the rights. WWE will still maintain a presence on Peacock going forward with Saturday night's main event. Vengeance Day this past weekend was the last NXT PLE of the Peacock era. On the road to Stand and Deliver, NXT has upcoming stops in, who cares? Okay. So, it's interesting. It's interesting how we're just like, maybe this is just a stopgap measure? Is just, what is the next step for WWE? Is this a temporary thing? Is this permanent? We don't know. Yeah, this is how it's being framed. But it's funny how anything that Tony Khan decides to do with AEW, whether it be, let's say, with Rampage or with Ring of Honor these days, doesn't get the same type of courtesy. Never, ever, ever, actually. Never gets any kind of that same type of courtesy. In fact, it instantly becomes it instantly becomes stories of panic, of wonders. Like, well, you'll hear analysis, that will include words like, this is a blow, this is not good, this is not a good look, is dying, right? This is the kind of analysis that usually goes around it, and never anything as level-headed as we get here. And it's funny how it's not making the rounds. It's funny how, no one is really shaking the tree here and being overtly reactionary to this, to something that is very, very real here, to the real story, to the actual real story here, which is that NXT pay-per-views, PLEs, don't have a legitimate broadcasting home. They are going to be distributed, or at least Stand and Deliver is going to be on YouTube. And that's crazy. I I don't know why I'm the only one like sort of, just doing this and going, what the fuck is going on here? It's crazy that this company, again, billion-dollar company with multiple media partners, is unable to find a landing place for their NXT PLEs. And no one is reacting about that. It's exactly like when Saturday night's main event was pulled off of NBC and then thrown back onto Peacock. They had one press release go out, say, oh, we're going to bring the magic over to Peacock. Instead of everyone just like looking at the press release and saying, this is bunk, you've been canceled. You've been canceled. And now you're being sent to the plan B, but you've been canceled off NBC. And NXT here, in this circumstance, the fact that it doesn't have a place to go is absolutely ridiculous, especially when you consider that NXT is on TV. It's on broadcast TV, right? Like the CW, you can get it with a terrestrial connection, right? With your antenna, with your rabbit ears. You can connect, right? If I'm not mistaken, you don't need cable to get the CW. And yet we can't find a spot for NXT. So everyone, this is certainly a stopgap measure. This is without a doubt just an issue that will be resolved. Or is it that this brand has no value and Peacock didn't want to fight for it? I mean, we know Peacock didn't fight for it. We know Peacock did not fight to retain any WWE content after they were done, right? After their contract was done. Peacock basically said they were negotiating with WWE and WWE came back with a number and Peacock said, that's fine. You're good. All right. Move along. It's fine. So where's this supposed to go? Where is NXT supposed to go? YouTube? That's not spectacular. Look, I'm on fucking YouTube. Okay? I myself am on YouTube. That is not it ain't no great shakes, pal, to just be on YouTube. And I can guarantee you, I can promise you, in fact, from everything that we know, everything that we've read and that we've observed and analyzed, I can promise you that there is no one in the WWE office that is pleased with this situation. None of them are going, that's fine, we'll turn on super chats. No one is saying that in that office. This is, as the kids like to say, a big fat L. But it is not being reported that way. It's more, it's a stopgap. It's probably some. I refuse to believe. Chat. Hey, Rich, how you doing? I just saw you were here. How you doing? How you doing, Rich? You have you're warming up for your show. You're going to get some energy off of here. You're going to get some tips, some topics. Okay, don't get off track, Warren. I refuse to believe that I refuse to believe that they decided that this is happening and eventually we'll get a contingency plan. This is, again, WWE, for whom their public perception is king. There is nothing else that matters than the story that they can deliver. They want to be in control of everything. Look, that we just fucking talked about ESPN and WWE moving in to say, stop giving us C grades, right? We just talked about that. WWE needs to control everything. They need their story to be pristine from A to Z every single time. They know that this gap here that's happening right now, that where the NXT PLEs are nowhere to be found except on YouTube, is not a good look for them. It's not a good look for them. They know this. They would have given anything to avoid this. The plain simple fact, boys and girls and everyone in between, is that no one wants to broadcast NXT PLEs. That's all there is to it. Whether it's the price, whether it's the quality of the show, who can, or a combination of both very easily. Thank you very much. It doesn't matter. No one wants this fucking programming. Look, why couldn't they have converted this into a monthly special with the CW, who already air the weekly NXT stuff? Why didn't that happen? And am I just coming up with that idea here on the spot? Me, an idiot, sitting behind a microphone screaming about professional wrestling? Is this my original idea? You don't think someone in that fucking boardroom thought about it? Don't think they gave a call? You don't think there were talks about it? They tried to find something. There's nothing. This is the story. This is the thing, that NXT cannot find a home. It's not, oh, it's on YouTube and it's probably a stopgap. NXT cannot find a home. That is your story. This company that made that made headlines saying, oh, we're going to piecemeal everything so that you can get a little bit of us here and a little bit about there. Like, this was part of their strategy, right? And they were big old WWE, and we won't be able, people want to consume, with their linear eyeballs, everything that we have to give here. It's like, fuck me. They can't find a home for their third fucking brand. Sounds familiar? Why is this not a topic of conversation? It is a topic of conversation. Ring of Honor, which has never been on television. Cable, well, I mean, since Tony Khan got it, bear with me here. It has never been on television, cable, or on an independent streaming service outside of its own. And every time people ask, well, what's up with Ring of Honor, Tony? Well, I'm trying to find a deal. And what's the analysis off of that? Oh, Ring of Honor's in the pits. It's, it sucks. It's going to die. Tony Khan slowly killing every single time. And yet the expectation is Ring of Honor has to get a media deal. But the expectation for NXT pay-per-views here is not, it needs a media deal. It's not, no, it'll be fine on YouTube. What the fuck is this topsy-turvy, upside-down, weirdo bullshit universe? Why am I so jacked up about this? It's extremely frustrating. It's just extremely frustrating. When you need to take just like a second or two to think about what's going on, and you're like, oh well, of course, this is not an optimal situation. Do you listen? Do you think Ricky Starks left AEW so that his big pay-per-view matches would be broadcast for free on YouTube? I can guarantee you he didn't. That's for damn sure. Mariah May either. God damn it. Biggest wrestling company in the world, billion-dollar company, and can't find a landing spot for its pay-per-views. I don't know why people are not just pointing at this and making fun of it. It should be made fun of. Anyway. Go out, spread the news, clip whatever you need to be clipped so that it gets out there, and there you go. David Baynes, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. Nice to see you again. I said what I said, okay, David? I'm kind of hot right now. You don't want to go down this road with me right now. You don't want to start playing 5th grade teacher with me, okay? It's nice to see you. Rory Starks, nice to see you as well. Welcome to the chat. Yeah, it's like I'm sure Ring of Honor could get a bad deal right now, but that doesn't mean AEW should rush into getting it. My theory about the Ring of Honor deal still remains the same. It remains the same. Tony Khan has said multiple times, yeah, the Ring of Honor deal, sure. I just want the right deal. I want it to be the good deal. And now that we know that Warner Bros. Has a slice of ownership in AEW, it behooves you to believe that Tony Tony wants to land a media deal with something inside the Warner Brothers family, Warner Brothers Discovery family, so as to not upset them, keep your business partners happy, so on and so forth. He had offers, to go bring Ring of Honor to, I don't know, Pluto TV, right? Well, Pluto's owned by Fox, if I'm not mistaken, right? Isn't it it's a Disney thing, I believe. I could be wrong. So, and he turned them down and says no. When he says he wants to find the right deal, I'm convinced that's what he's talking about. I am 100% convinced that that's what he's talking about. Just my gut talking. Oh, it's Tubi that's owned by Fox. Okay. Then who owns Pluto then? Who owns Pluto TV? Oh, I know. Listen, don't worry about it, David. I was goofing with you. Regardless, it's fine. We're good, man. Don't worry about it. It's a Pluto TV's owned by Satan. Sure, okay. Suddenly, things start making a lot of sense. NXT would probably do the same amount of numbers AAA usually does. We're about to find out. we're about to find out. The Orlando ending. No one wants to pay to watch the Orlando ending with Mariah May and Jada Parker. Is that what? That's not how they're calling it, right? That's just you making a gag, just to show you how little I follow the product. But you're probably just memeing right now, right? We were gonna, and Rich is probably gone by now to get Voices of Wrestling going, but we were going to talk about this, but now I don't even want to because you're nailing it. Aha! Aha! The lead-in to the flagship wins again. The match ended with Mariah throwing diamonds in Jada Parker's face. Okay, what did that do? Did she get blinded by one? Is that the thing? If someone threw a fistful of diamonds in my face, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't be like, ow, ow. I'd be like scooping them up, doing one of these with my shirt, a pouch with the bottom of my t-shirt and then putting them all in there and running the fuck off. That's what I'd be doing. Diamonds. Paramount owns Pluto TV. So Satan. Oh, he's on fire. Right? It's great psychology to pick up the diamonds and then hit the bricks. That's the only one that would work. Should we preview AEW Revolution? Is that where we're at? Yeah, let's preview AEW Revolution. Why don't we do that? And we'll get out of the big one here. Oh, we don't need the music. We don't need the music right now. No, it's fine. We don't need the music right now. Whoop, whoop, whoop. There we go. Because I don't have any, there's no visuals. It's just like a Wikipedia page. No one wants to stare at a Wikipedia page. AEW Revolution 2026. It's the big Mr. Warren Hayes show preview. This show is coming at you. Not the Mr. Warren Hayes show preview. It's coming at you right now, but the Revolution show. It's coming at you on March 15, 2026 from the Crypto.com arena over there in Los Angeles, California. And this is going to be a show that is going to do tremendous business for All Elite Wrestling. They're very close to filling the place up. I don't know if they're going. I'm not going to lie. I didn't check before jumping in. Why don't I do this as I talk, as I try to? Because it is very difficult for me to do two things at the same time. So maybe I'll be able to do it. But we'll go check and we'll take a look at where the numbers are right now. But this is going to do tremendous business. While WrestleTix is loading. While WrestleTix is loading right now, from a pay-per-view sense, I am so excited to see how much this is going to do, because I legitimately think that they have put together an exciting card with an exciting, unpredictable main event. I was maybe. I was maybe on the side a little more that I was a lot more on the side of MJF winning the title, but now I'm not so sure. But let's take a look here. Let me scroll down. Double or Nothing. Double or Nothing is doing extreme business right now for AEW. It is doing incredible business right now. But we're not talking about Double or Nothing. I just saw it. Scroll by my face here. Okay, so AEW Crypto.com arena, 10,897 tickets distributed. From the current setup, there's about 700 tickets left. So I think they'll sell a few hundred more. Will this be like a setup sellout? I don't know. 7. Do you think that the show last night was hot enough to get like 700 people out the door to buy tickets in Los Angeles? Maybe there'll be there's a lot of walk up business when it comes to AEW as well, last minute business. So there's a lot of that. So there we go. 11,500 people in the building is the capacity that they have according to the setup. They just look, the point is that it's doing tremendous work for them. Like really, really, really great work for them. And I'm very excited to see what kind of pay-per-view business they're going to do, because I think this card is legitimately great. And on top of that, they have been building everything on this card. Well, the majority of stuff on this card has been excellently built. What has not been excellently built has been very well built. There's nothing here that outright stinks, that you're like, there's nothing really to this. There's no, there's no pizzazz to it. I think this is an extremely well put together, well thought out, well hyped, well booked card. And I was listening to Joe Lanza's review today after doing mine, which is typically my routine. He pointed out that in the case of a lot of stories right now in AEW, a lot of storylines, there's like the pay-per-view is arriving exactly at the right moment. Just when you feel like some storylines are starting to stagnate, starting to lose a little gas, that they're not quite, you can feel they're not quite sure what to do next. The pay-per-view is in a couple of days, so it's like arriving at the perfect moment. It's like everything was it feels like everything was so meticulously planned, as opposed to some other people. So I'm excited for this show. I'm like, there's a legitimate trepidation coming from, ya boy Warren here. I'm legitimately excited to watch this show on Sunday. Very, very much so. And I'm stoked to see what kind of business it's going to do. I'm very excited about all of this. There's no Saraya match. No, there really shouldn't be. I remember I did nerd math a few months ago that said 14K, so I wouldn't be surprised if it does 13K. I mean, they'd have to open up a couple of thousand more. Seems unrealistic to me. But that'd be what, like 15? Yeah, it'd be like just about 2,000 people more or so, a little give or take. I would see 700 a lot more than 2,000. And then do they still have room to open up? Like I haven't been, I haven't checked the whole, WrestleTix post, because maybe they've opened up everything they could because everything else is taken up by production. I don't know. There's at least stories for at least 2/3 of the cards. Brother, everything on this card has a story. What are we doing here? This is AEW. This is the place where everything tells stories. It's one of my complaints that sometimes I wish Tony Khan would once in a while just book a cool match for the sake of booking a cool match. But he was bullied into a corner by the blue check marks, who told him over and over again, you got to tell stories. Where's the stories? And I was like, sometimes you don't need a story. Sometimes you just want a cool fucking match. Book cool fucking matches more, Tony. But he's been doing a good job building the matches. Like, I'm not complaining. It's still a complaint for me. I'm not complaining that it's still not a complaint, but a sore spot. I'm a little touchy. Can't think of a better stretch of AEW TV than their run this year so far. I mean, I completely agree with you. And when I talk about it on the review, I even go as far as to say, like, since the Continental Classic, AEW it's been particularly really good since in the post World's End stuff, but even like right into the Continental Classic last November up until now, it's just been magic stuff. They've been on a hell of a run. I do like angles, but sometimes I just want a 5 to 10 minute fun match on the undercard. Yes, you just want someone to show up. You bring in Satoshi Kojima and you have him fight Brody King. And there's no reason for them to fight other than these guys are professional fighters, and the promoter says, hey, you two are going to fight each other, and the winner's going to get this much and the loser's going to get this much. And they're like, okay, and they go in and they fight. I mean, tell me Satoshi Kojima versus Brody King would not be a blast. Tell me it wouldn't be a blast. And I'll find you and I'll poke your car tires. I'll let all the air out. Let's talk about the matches, shall we? Let's take it down a little bit. Let's just take it down a little bit, and we'll talk about the matches. Let's start with the main event. MJF defending the AEW World Championship in a last chance Texas death match against Hangman Adam Page. Of course, we all know the stipulation. If Page loses, he will never be able to challenge for the AEW World Championship for as long as he lives. That's his quote. So we're going to do a little, there's a little bit of tinfoiling that we're going to be doing here, folks. But up until very recently, I was convinced, 100% convinced, that MJF was going to win. I was like, no. And the reasons why is because in their most recent fight, MJF lost to Adam Page. And MJF's going to want his win back. MJF right now as world champion is a success. And you cannot say anything to deter me from that. Ratings are high. Attendance is selling out. Look at what we're doing here with this pay-per-view. Look at the attendance here. Look at the attendance for Double or Nothing. Who's the champion right now? This is always what we do. Yes, it can be a team effort. There's a whole bunch of things going on, but you always turn back to the who's on top, who's the champion. Technically, that should be your biggest draw. That should be your biggest superstar. MJF is going around. He's doing all sorts of media. He is. Some people are even saying that he's on a sort of a rehabilitation tour, and I agree with that. I think Max is being extremely smart with what he's doing. If you're watching here, Max, you're doing a really good job. And he's that's it. He's doing the media tours. He's going to Indies to defend the AEW World Championship, which was a thing years ago, and now we're going back to that. We're back to creating bridges with the independent circuit via MJF, who's going out there wrestling all sorts of folks in all sorts of promotions. This has been a success. MJF as world champion, I'm sorry to say, to all of the MJF detractors, all the people who say he sucks, all of the people who says he's terrible and a detriment to the business, he is currently at the top of AEW in AEW's most successful period in a while. And I think that's observable. I my own biases aside, because I like MJF a lot. My own biases aside, it's undeniable. You can't make a compelling argument to say no, that it's not successful, because it is. So on top of that, I was also thinking, you know what? The story of Hangman Adam Page being unable to challenge for the title moving forward is so fucking good. And it is such a Hangman story for him to carry on top of that, where he's like, it troubles him. It gets him deep inside. He feels horrible. He feels horrible about it. It eats him up inside. And then what's good about it is, because then people are like, oh, you're keeping him out of the top, the top of the card and so on. Why couldn't he then wrestle for the Continental title? Or when they bring back the fucking unified title or whatever. Why? I mean, these are high level titles too, and a former world champion wrestling for those titles adds prestige. Look at Jon Moxley in the Continental crown. Look at Kazuchika Okada in the Continental crown. It all worked out. The Continental title is the second title in AEW, right? I think are we in agreement? It's the second biggest title in the company, just by how it's defended, who has worn it, and so on and so forth, right? So I don't see necessarily that big of a problem, and of course everyone points to Cody Rhodes and whatnot, and Cody. What one thing that a lot of people forget is that that was Cody's decision to do this. And no one sort of said, yeah, this is great. This was Cody's decision because, again, if you recall, all of the elite guys at first didn't want to be world champion, didn't want to be tag team champions. They didn't want any belts at first because they didn't want to be the founders of the promotion and then belting themselves up, and then have people come after them saying, oh, of course the Young Bucks are the tag team champions. Of course, because they're the owners. Of course, Cody Rhodes is the world champion. And so on and so forth, right? And Cody took it just like one step too far. And he thought that would ingrain him into the minds of fans, and that they would support him to be like, you are our babyface, our uncrowned champion. But the thing is, what Cody completely misread about his audience is that they wanted to see him world champion. They wanted to see him be a world champion. And the reasons why they ultimately turned on him, well, has nothing to do with whether or not he could still challenge for the world championship, which is a kayfabe fucking angle that if they wanted to retcon in any way possible, they could have, just like they could do with Hangman. Because I can absolutely see Hangman being in a position where he enters a tournament and he wins the tournament, like an Owen, to regain, like he works his way to getting a title shot again, like being respected type of thing. Or anything at all, any type of situation to retcon this. They can do it. It's fucking pro wrestling. Who cares? It's a story. It's a plot device that you're using. The point ultimately I want to make here in regards to Hangman, regardless of how he goes about doing it, Hangman Adam Page can flat out come back at any moment and be on the road to regain the right to challenge for the title. And you know what's going to happen is the AEW fans are going to back it, and they are going to be super supportive of him, because that's what the Hangman is about. The Hangman is about the chase. He's the underdog. He's the guy who's fighting against the odds at every circumstance, fighting against his own inhibitions, his own personality defects, against the world, against villains doing villainous shit against him. And he struggles and he works his way back to the top. And there is so much money to be made in a story where Hangman Adam Page works his way back into championship contention. It's inevitable that's going to happen. People saying, oh, Page is the next guy to leave for WWE. You guys are nuts. You comparing Adam Page to Cody Rhodes is comparing, apples to, fucking cherry Coke. I don't know why I stuttered that much. Like, it's two completely different things. And you don't understand the psychology. You don't understand. You either don't understand or you don't remember why Cody did this in the first place and what ultimately led Cody to leave. And it was not because he couldn't win a kayfabe world championship. That's not why he left. So that's why, for the longest time, I thought MJF winning the title is going to happen. And it'd be the biggest fucking news story, too. Like, I'm already salivating at the idea of doing my review and just having to talk about Hangman losing and having this spiel over again. But then I'm listening to MJF conduct interviews. He's doing all sorts of media, and I don't remember which ones exactly he talked about this, and I apologize. He's going around. He's talking about children. He's talking about kids and having kids and children, and putting over Alicia and his wife, right? And then I start scratching my chin. I'm like, hang on a second. Could Alicia be pregnant? Could Alicia be pregnant, and is Max going to drop the title because he's going to take some time off to be a father? Could this be a thing? Then again, would he take time to be a father because, he didn't take any time off for the honeymoon? Hey-o. With a child, it's different, okay? The child hasn't been smartened up. The baby hasn't been smartened up to the business yet. But I'm just saying, I just find it curious. So now I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure. Personally, like outside of any type of personal issues, it's not even an issue. Projects, a personal project. That's which is to impregnate his wife to have children. Outside of that project, MJF has unless he has like a movie coming up or we don't know, I would think it would be a tremendous mistake to take the title off of MJF. And even if you want to further book this down the road, I think the only truly the only truly viable option to me is for MJF to hold the title until Wembley so that Will Ospreay can take the belt off of him. That's what I'm thinking. Right? That's what I'm thinking. But I mean, at this point, look, I mean, I'm not going to berate a man for wanting to go start a family. Absolutely not. All the more power to him. And you know, if that's the situation, well, I applaud it, and it's tremendous, and you know, it's the greatest experience. It's the greatest experience a man can have is to become a father. But if not, if there's anything else that stands in the way, and that's keeping us from, or keeping AEW from booking MJF as the champion for months to come, I think it's a mistake. I really think it's a mistake. I think the Hangman fans are going to lose their minds on Sunday evening if it happens, but they'll be fine within a week, because what the Hangman fans never seem to understand, never seem to embed into their brains is that Hangman Page will always be fine in AEW. He will always be okay. If there is one wrestler on God's green flat earth who will always be okay in All Elite Wrestling, it's going to be the Hangman. He'll always be fine. All right? So whatever happens, he will always figure his way into big stories, important feuds, big rivalries, big matches. That's just how it's going to go. Because it's the fucking Hangman. And yeah, when it comes to Max, well, listen, I mean, I'm not as cocky confident as I was. We're not just before this past few days, I'd be going around going, MJF is absolutely winning. You know, I hope none of you Hangman fans are, you know, clinging on this, you know, for dear life, for the Hangman to win. You know, I was very cocky about it. Not as much. All I know is that if there's any other reason than fatherhood that is motivating AEW to take the title off of Max, it's a mistake. It's a mistake. It's a complete and total and utter mistake. And to counteract that, the tease that we had with Kyle Fletcher, I mentioned it on the review, on the Dynamite review, the tease that we had with Kyle Fletcher and MJF gives me just enough hope to go, oh, well, maybe MJF is going to continue being the champion. And then for Dynasty, right, which is going to be the next pay-per-view before Double or Nothing, MJF versus Kyle Fletcher is a nice little, you know, B pay-per-view main event. It'll be great. It'll be a lot of fun. It'll continue to solidify Kyle's place that he can that he has a spot up here with these top people. And then we'll have, you know, whatever match they have planned for Double or Nothing. So look, we'll see what happens. But I do hope that everyone understands that Hangman being out of the world title picture is not a death cry for his career. Does not mean that he's instantly jumping to WWE. He might. I'd be stunned, okay? But we've been stunned before when it comes to people jumping from AEW. I'd be stunned, but I don't think it's going to be. I don't think that's the path we're going to go down. And I think this is going to be very refreshing for Hangman's career. It's going to be very good. And then I promise you, down the line, they're going to turn around, and somehow Hangman is going to have a championship shot. So, gun to my head, MJF retains. That's the way. That's the way I do it. That's how I'd book it at this stage. That's how I'd do it. Hangman winning sets up whose house? Swerve's house. Yes, this is indeed the case. This is indeed absolutely the case. For me, it's more so how it happens. Does Hangman lose clean? Does Swerve screw him, etc.? I mean, there's a fair chance. I mean, how do you it's a no DQ death match situation. Like, how do you screw someone out of it? It's just like something's going to happen for real. Like, someone is going to interfere in this. That's something that's going to happen. I'm still holding a candle for AEW being the promotion that upholds their stipulations. So if Hanger loses, look, he's going to live through the stipulation for a while. They're not just like going to give up the ghost, like, let's say in the fall. I think that would be a mistake if they did that. If they let this go for like a year, 18 months, 2 years, let it really, really sink in. But I mean, at some point, people are going to realize we have a possibility here to make a lot of money with Hangman and get a lot of buzz with Hangman working his way back into becoming a champion, into challenging for the world title. There's going to be a lot of money in that. And it's funny y'all are saying, Swerve versus Hangman at Double or Nothing. Wouldn't you like Swerve versus Kenny? And I think that's the logical next step, right? That would be my guess. The Corey, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. Let Hangman go to the C2 or fight for the international titles and then do the national title and travel around. He's been floating around the main event scene for so long, it's getting stale. See, he's a perfect guy to be inserted into the Continental Classic level, which is the number 2 belt in the company. You get the tournament going. You have Hangman win it. It's funny how people think that it's because Hangman being forced out of the world title picture will be some kind of death knell to his career or death knell to AEW. And it's like, well, only if you're stupid and uncreative, honestly. You know. I really do have zero doubt that MJF retains unless he gets injured or something, of course. Sure. MJF will be fine if he loses the title too, though. Oh, both of these guys will be fine if they lose the title. My point with MJF right now, from a purely business perspective, is the main argument for me wanting for him to hang on to the title is business is so good with Max as champion right now. Why would you mess with this? Continue. It's like Saya Kamatani in Stardom. People are always, oh, this person's got to beat Saya. This person's got to beat Saya. Why would you have anyone beat your top person in the company right now? Your top woman in the company, your champion, the person who is legitimately putting butts in seats. Like a wrestler who is a clear draw. Why would you knock her out of the picture? You can argue about, oh, it should be, Hanan has got to put an end to this. We're really sick of it. No, we're not really sick of Saya Kamatani. She's still pushing the company forward and doing incredible business. So I don't know. That's just me. I do have some Hangman fatigue because although I like him, he's not my favorite, so I don't have endless appetite for him in the main event picture for over a year straight. I understand. And I think it's reasonable. It's a reasonable perception to have, to say, yeah, you know what? Let's just freshen things up. I don't hate the Hangman. Just let's freshen things up. I think that's very reasonable. But sometimes reason. SLK? big SLK guy, but I don't know. Sometimes I wonder if Stardom sees the potential in Starlight Kid as much as people like me do. Anyway, we're not talking Stardom right now. We're talking AEW Revolution. The next match that we are going to cover is the Tag Team Championship match. AEW World Tag Team Championship match. In fact, FTR versus the Young Bucks. I think right now, Right now, I think that FTR have been doing the best work of their career. In ring, character-wise, right now they are. I think they're at the top of their game. I really do. And the only reason why we're not rolling on top of each other, screaming at their 5-star matches like they had with the Briscoes a few years ago, is because they haven't had that high-level opponent like the Briscoes where they can pull it off. And we're going back to the Young Bucks here. Now, they have had matches in the past with the Young Bucks that everyone did expect great things out of, and it feels like their matches always just came up a little short. They were good matches, excellent matches in one case, but they always just seemed to come up short of the high expectation that you'd have with these two tag teams, which are both considered to be two of the top tag teams in the world. You would assume they could weave magic together. Now, in this circumstance, I would say this. The Young Bucks are baby faces and they're motivated. The Bucks are in a great spot right now. Physically, you can tell, mentally as well. They're into it. They're having a good time. They're back to really enjoying what they're doing. They dumped the EVP gimmick back to being a baby face. And despite the fact that I have a little penchant for the heel Bucks because I think they're perfect little assholes when they are, it's hard to not say that they are excellent in the babyface role and getting people excited with, their crazy ass offense and their explosive high flying maneuvers and so on and so forth, and their extremely tight and exciting tag team maneuvers. Just fantastic stuff, right? So am I being naive here in expecting finally FTR Young Bucks to be the great one? To truly be, okay, this is the match that everyone wanted to see when the Bucks were taking shots at FTR back when they were still the Revival, right? Back in the fuck the Revival days. And there was nothing we could do about it because Scott Dawson and what was Cash's name? Anyway, when the Revival they were stuck in WWE at that point, right? But this is the match everyone wanted. That's the match everyone wanted to see. I'm excited to see how this match is going to go. And I'm trying to not let my expectations get the best of me. But you kind of feel that this has to be the one. This has to be the match between the Bucks and FTR, because they've had opportunities before and they've all sort of fell flat. If these two teams truly are like two of the greatest tag teams of the past, 10, 15 years or whatever, it's time to put up or shut up. And quite frankly, I think it's time for FTR to put up or shut up here. I think it's time for that because the Young Bucks are unequivocally one of the greatest tag teams of the millennium, one of the greatest tag teams of all time. That's not even a question. They're a top 5 all-time great tag team. I don't think that's up for debate. Anyone who wants to debate it is bad faith. I think. It's still stuck with the idea of, well, the Young Bucks don't sell and all they do is flippy doos. That's what they, that someone who doesn't watch the Young Bucks will have that impression, right? But I feel like this has to be the one. This has to be the one. So we'll see. We'll see. The history that exists, the history of matches between these two teams is keeping me from fully going all in and being really, really invested in this. I'm a little hesitant. How about that? I think the Bucks win for what it's worth. Jon Moxley will defend the AEW Continental Championship in a no time limit match against Konosuke Takeshita. This is the match I am most looking forward to on the entire card. Jon Moxley. Look, I am going to say it. I'm going to say it again. I am going to keep pushing this so that every fucking AEW fan out there hears this. At every occasion, I am going to bring this up. 1 year ago, practically day for day, AEW fans were demanding that Jon Moxley go back to WWE, that he hit the bricks. They were saying this guy is washed, he stinks, and that he has no place in our company. They were demanding that he leave. And you can go back and check the tape. I have been adamant. I have been solid the entire way. I was saying, yeah, creative kind of stinks, but never bet against Jon Moxley. Never fucking bet against Jon Moxley. Once again, Warren Hayes proven right. An incredible year, a 2025, which had a solid argument for voting in the, let's say, in the Wrestling Observer newsletter awards. Jon Moxley had a legitimate candidacy for being MVP last year. He is absolutely phenomenal. Just incredible 2025, wrestling every week, wrestling hard. Once he escaped the orbit of Adam Copeland, he soared. Main evented the biggest pay-per-view of the year. Continued to be fresh and exciting. And now since the start of this year, I dare anyone, since the Continental Classic, I dare anyone to tell me that Jon Moxley has not rocked and rolled the entire way through. He has been phenomenal. Konosuke Takeshita had to split his time between AEW and New Japan. Now it seems like he's going to hang around. It's time for the AEW part of the contract. We're going to have him stick around for a little bit. It's time for this guy to get a big win. It's time for this guy to be one of the top guys in the company. And I have a good feeling that he's going to win this match. I have a good feeling that Soup is going to win this match. He's going to take Jon Moxley's belt because Jon Moxley likes him. He said so in that interview that he did with Renee, right? John did, and I think that's the biggest. I think that's the biggest tell. I wouldn't even be surprised if he offered a spot for Takeshita and the Death Riders. I wouldn't even be surprised on that front. But I digress. That's another level of booking. I'm not proposing that. I'm not necessarily suggesting it. I'm saying I wouldn't be surprised. Match is gonna rock. Look, they had a good little match a couple of weeks ago on Dynamite, the one that went to the time limit. And even in my review, at the time I said you felt that they had another one in them. You feel like they were holding back on some stuff. And now here we are. And they decided to go the no time limit on top of that. just to make sure that it goes a while and that they can really have a fucking fight. And I am so excited about this. And I'm sure Mox is excited about this. I'm sure Soup is excited about this too. And it's going to be a tremendous match. My expectations for this match are very high. I am so stoked for this. And then you have Konosuke Takeshita win the title, and he continues his little feud with Kazuchika Okada. They continue being passive aggressive against each other, and then at some point comes to a head. You know, Takeshita gets kicked out of the Don Callis family or whatever, and then it all goes to the big stage at Wembley Stadium, and Okada is still the international champion, and Soup is the continental champion, and Soup beats Okada, and then we reunite the belts into the unified championship gimmick. It's going to be a big year for Soup. What did I tell you guys last year? I said it's going to be a big year for Konosuke Takeshita. I told you that last spring. I was telling that over and over. It's going to be a big year for Konosuke Takeshita. What do? Went off, participated in the G1, which is a big thing in and about itself. Won the G1, which was a huge thing, and then went off to win the IWGP Championship, and then on top of that, start the year in the Tokyo Dome. He would have main evented had it not been for Hiroshi Tanahashi. I'm being finished. But did I not keep telling people that Konosuke Takeshita was going to have a big year last year? He's going to have a big year this year. Trust me. And the one thing we have to just adjust our expectations on, the one thing that I do have a very solid expectation with, a floor, is that this match has to go over 20 minutes. If it goes under 20 minutes, what was the point of the no limit stip, right? It has to go over 20 minutes. Otherwise, what was the point? That's my floor. We'll see what happens on top of that after. Pedro the Fifth, nice to see you and welcome to the chat. Wait, doesn't Soup have a New Japan belt right now? Yes, he is World Television Champion. I wouldn't exactly consider that part of his big year, but it's a nice little championship. Takeshita as a TV character desperately needs this win. I don't know if you noticed, but we're heading towards a babyface turn. I don't know if you're seeing this coming, but we're heading towards a babyface turn, and Takeshita, I think, is much better suited as being a babyface than he is a heel. That's what I'd say. To my dying breath, I will defend that the Death Riders story this time of year was ruined by faces booked to be dumbasses, and Jon Moxley never did anything wrong. Correct. Correct. I just saw the Planet Copeland comment. Remember the talk about the Jericho vortex, right? Nobody talks about the Adam Copeland vortex. Nobody talks about Adam. We dressed down Adam Copeland a couple of months ago. But the only people that Adam Copeland has ever put over in this company is Jon Moxley and Christian Cage. Those are the only two people he's ever put over since he started wrestling in All Elite Wrestling. Isn't that interesting? JD, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. I think Take wins and leads them to finally giving us the Okada match, and Takeshita is the best unified champion. Going to be such sexy times. I agree, brother. If Mox is opening on the same level he did against Fletcher, then this will be a early thousands Meltzer 4.5 star match. Yes, none of this Dave-flation stuff anymore. Didn't Copeland get his win back off Christian in the end? Yes, he did. But my point is that he still has only put over 2 guys in this company. One of them is his best friend in the world, and the other guy's a former WWE dude. Just saying. Let's see what else. What else do we have there? We still got a lot to preview. Let's keep this rolling. Tekla will be defending the AEW Women's World Championship against Chris Statlander in a 2 out of 3 falls match. I'm super excited for this. I'm super stoked for this. Tekla is fantastic. She's so good being the champ. Presence, projection, skill, talent, suddenly becoming everyone's favorite fucking promo. It's crazy. It's crazy when you consider that her days in stardom, people really didn't care for her much, and people were really fed up of her at the end. But Joshi fans can be a little weird, especially when it comes to gaijin wrestlers. But, and she was also in a faction with Julia, right? And Julia was always the star. It was always Julia that was the center of attention. She was always the star, and Tekla was always there in Bella de Mundo, I think. We've had this conversation before. I think anyway, it doesn't matter. In the faction that they were in together. Julia's faction. And isn't it curious right now that Tekla right now, Donna Del Mundo, thank you very much. Thank you, chat. Isn't it curious right now that Tekla is the standout? Tekla is the one, breaking out, having a breakout moment. Well, she started having it since last year, but bear with me here. And Julia she's just someone else on the fucking SmackDown roster who's going to be thrown into a tag team match at WrestleMania. Isn't that wild? Isn't that wild? It's crazy. It's crazy what not being able to shoot headbutts can do to someone's career. So anyway, back to this match here. I'm glad that they're doing the rematch thing with Statlander, that they're adding this little stipulation here as well. Like I said when Statlander lost the title, when I talked about it on the Dynamite review, on which that happened, I thought that good for AEW for trying Chris Statlander out. Keeping the title picture fresh and trying out new people. I think that's a very good idea. And I think it was an excellent idea to strap up Statlander and see what was going to happen. I think ultimately what it showed is that Statlander, while her in-ring is solid and very good and excellent at times, there's elements about her her projection, how she presents herself as a champion that still need to be worked out. I still think she hasn't found her main event poise quite yet. And that's okay. Hangman maybe didn't quite have that main event poise either with his first championship run. Certainly had it with his second. Sometimes it's just a question of timing, and you'll never know if you don't try. So it wasn't a poor decision to give the belt to Statlander. I would have done the exact same thing and say, okay, let's see how it goes. And then on top of that, they had her wrestle and defeat Toni Storm twice. Well, both. Oh, my dog just had a fucking conniption. Juno, you okay? Give me a quick second. I'm just going to go check on her. Give me a second. Maybe she had some kind of dream. I don't know. She just like she let out a yelp and she started scurrying. She's fine. She's absolutely, but she looks like she's spooked. You know, she's sort of, her head's down. Her tail is sort of wagging like this, you know, pointed down wagging. Yeah. I think this place is haunted. just to let everyone know, I legitimately believe this place is haunted. Anyway. So what were we talking about? Yeah, okay. So I would have done the same thing to put the title on Statlander, but she was missing stuff. And and we were talking about her being then booked against Toni Storm. She beat her twice, you know, once in the multi-woman match, and then in a singles match to really establish, no, Statlander's the real thing. Then she beats Mercedes Moné on top of that. Then she also beats Jamie Hayter. She's beating world champion after world champion. And, well, Mercedes Moné is not a world champion in AEW. You didn't have the AEW World Championship, but, you know, Mercedes Moné is a world champion nonetheless. You know what I mean? So she's beating like top women right and left. And she couldn't, like, there was still something missing. It's not as if they didn't try. It's not as if, like, I thought she was perfectly booked. It's not as if it's not as if they didn't try. It's not as if it didn't work. You know, I think there's just like, there's something missing still in Chris Statlander as a true top woman. Whereas Tekla, I think, already has it. She has the presence, she has the swagger, she has the confidence. She's fantastic. I think a lot of us thought that Tekla would be a great pick to be a women's world champion in the company. I don't think anyone thought she'd be that good though, like, because she's really excellent. So I'm excited for this match. Should be hard hitting. 2 out of 3 falls. Good stipulation. I'm looking forward to it. It'll be fun. It'll be a good one. They say cats and dogs can pick up on the spirit world. Juno sometimes she'll be like right here while I'm working, because she doesn't come in when I stream because she doesn't like it when I talk loud. And she'll be right there and she'll be staring right up into the corner there. She'll be lying down here and her head just like staring up right there in the corner, right up there. I'm like, what is it, baby? What do you see? What is it? She's just staring. She's not growling or anything. She just stares, you know? And sometimes I do have the impression that, you know, she's picking up on things that aren't there anyway. Dogs can also sniff out Terminators. That freaks me out a little more than a ghost, quite frankly. How old is your house? Oh, it's very old. It's it's a very old house. It has to be at least 70 years. It's a 70-year-old house easily. Well, it was a good promo, so she could hold her own even if the women's booking isn't good. I agree. I thought Stat's initial heel turn, if it was one, had some legs and was getting interesting before she did her bi-weekly change-up again. That was at the time where I thought she was extremely poorly booked. I thought she was the worst booked person in AEW. I also thought the heel turn had legs. We should have explored that a little more. This now has turned into a paranormal podcast, The Spirit World with Warren Hayes. Guys, keep an eye on the door here. If you see any shapes pop up, like we're watching a James Wan movie, just make sure, say something in the chat if you see like a shadowy presence, or little glowing pinpoint eyes. Tekla retains. Next, why don't we go with Andrade El Idolo versus Bandito? I don't have many thoughts on this match. I think it's going to be exciting. I'm very, very look. I was, and I still am. Para Warren activity is fucking great. That though is really, thank you. Oh my God. Thank you, Pedro the Fifth. That's tremendous. I had to interrupt my thought for that one. That was really good. That was really good. No. Don't fuck with me though. You got to react if it's real. Chat. What was I saying? Yeah. I was and still am, to be very clear. But I was an Andrade skeptic when he returned. Didn't quite understand why he returned in the first place, why he was welcomed back, so on and so forth. But he's been nothing but motivated since his return, and not just in AEW, pretty much everywhere that he's been showing up. If this Andrade sticks around for a while, I'm absolutely okay with it. Like this is very good. And so I'm looking at the match with Bandito coming up, and I'm like, hell yeah. Let's have ourselves a good old-fashioned Lucha Libre exhibition match. Let's just go nuts, fellas. This is going to be a lot of fun. This is going to be a fun, dynamic, high-flying, hard-hitting match, courtesy of Andrade. He's going to lay him in. Look, Andrade's been great, but, as I've said before, and I just have to throw this in because, I'm a miserable motherfucker. If I were booked in a company where I am not only wrestling, but beating the top guys of the company, and then my gimmick is, women want to take selfies with me and they can't keep their hands off of me because I'm so hot, I'd probably be happy too. I'd be motivated and showing up for work with a smile on my face. I'm just saying. Plus, on top of that, getting paid a nice little 6-figure deal on top of that. You know. You were the biggest skeptic, Warren. You thought Andrade was scheming like it was 2021. Hey, listen, old habits die hard. Look, if he's changed if he's changed, that's fantastic. I appreciate him being around and in the state that he's in right now. Let's just see what happens when he gets downcycled, when he's not in the world title picture, when he's, fighting Dave Finlay. Okay. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I didn't. Well, there was a time I was kind of like, oh, fuck off, Andrade. This is true. Jordan from Canada, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat, and thank you. I appreciate it. It is my pleasure to provide a stream tonight. Thank you for popping in and showing up. I appreciate it. He is Baron Corbin, who Andrade. Brody King versus Swerve Strickland. This should be cool. This should be a lot of fun. This should be fun. I think Swerve. Oh, by the way, Andrade is winning against Bandito, and Swerve Strickland is fighting Brody King, and he's fighting Brody King, but he's beating Brody. He's fruiting Brody King. Might be time to stop the stream. Swerve is defeating Brody King. I think that's pretty safe. We're not turning Swerve Strickland and then just having him lose a big match. No, we're gonna go with big time heel Swerve Strickland, and it's going to work. And I still believe that Swerve is going to. I think Swerve is going to reveal a new member of the embassy. That would be my guess. I think there's going to be someone that's going to show up and that is going to help Swerve Strickland, and that just might be Tahuti Miles, the former Ashante the Adonis. And we're going to get the band back together slowly but surely. Then next thing you know, you've got AJ Francis showing up. And then when B-Fab's contract is up, no one wants B-Fab. No one wants that. Yeah, this should be good. It should be a fine match, a good little breather between two high octane matches. I think that's going to be tremendous. So there you go. I don't have many thoughts. It was a good, it's a good little build. This is clearly to establish Swerve again as a top heel act. So he's going to do some heel shit here. And there's going to be chains involved in I wouldn't even be surprised if this feud must continue after this match and then goes into another step into the feud where it turns into where it turns into a dog collar match because there's chains or something like that. I don't know, and Brody King likes to bark. You could easily justify a dog collar match. Well, we'll see. We'll see how it goes, but it should be entertaining at the very least. Kazuchika Okada, Kyle Fletcher, Mark Davis will be defending the AEW World Trios Championship against Jet Speed and Místico. Is this the place where I'm going to where I'm going to give the CMLL stars and AEW stars on each other's promotions rant? Is this where I'm not today. Not now. This is not where it's not time for that rant. Yeah, this should just be a lot of fun. This should be a blast. This should be a lot of fun. What are we doing? Yeah. And we've got Místico again on an AEW card, all the way down in the mid card. One of the biggest fucking wrestling stars in the world, right? The biggest star in Mexico, one of the biggest wrestling stars in the world. And we're like, oh yeah, let's put him in a trios match with two of our undercard guys for the undercard trios titles. It's fine. It is what it is. I'm just excited to see Místico on AEW television. I enjoy Místico. That's great. Look, without getting into the rant, okay, because it's been on the tip of my tongue ever since I'm not going to do the rant, but without getting into the rant, because I already did a rant earlier this evening. Not getting into the rant, it's curious to me how fucking John Morrison goes to CMLL and is put up there in a fucking main event. John Morrison, fucking Johnny Nitro, fucking Johnny Garbage, whatever he called himself in GCW, Johnny everything, right? And Místico, top guy in the industry, the biggest drawing wrestling star in Mexico and arguably in North America, and he's in an undercard match. I don't understand. And don't get me wrong. I know there's two promotions involved, right? So CMLL is okay with putting Johnny Consuela or Consejo in the main event. They're okay with that. Don't get me wrong. I understand that it takes two to tango in this situation. But then again, you're Tony Khan and you're like, oh, gee, thanks for putting Johnny Mundo in the main event of an Arena Mexico match in front of 16,000 people. I guess I could put Místico in a big time match here too, right? Wouldn't you do that at some point? See, this is what I mean when I say that sometimes I wish Tony Khan would just stop worrying about stories all the time and book cool matches. Just book a cool fucking match, brother. Don Callis family retains. Timeless Tony Storm versus Marina Shafir. Everyone is banned from ringside. I'm holding. Look, let's see. Okay. I know everyone is very, very high on Marina Shafir. I think Marina Shafir is tremendous in her role in the Death Riders. I think she's excellent. She really goes above and beyond. I still don't think Marina Shafir is a good professional wrestler. I think she's a bog standard, average run-of-the-mill professional wrestler. I will be looking out for Toni Storm to see how she keeps this match together. Or maybe Marina Shafir finally is going to have the moment where I'm going to sit here and eat crow and swallow my words and go, holy shit, she rules. But I doubt it. I don't know. I don't know who's going to win here. Toni Storm? Let's say Toni Storm. Let's say Toni Storm. And then let's see. What else? Oh, we got the pre-show matches next. Is this all we have left? Is this all we have left? We have the 21-man Blackjack Battle Royal for the AEW National Championship. 2 people have been announced so far. Tommaso Ciampa and Ricochet. Ricochet is in the Blackjack Battle Royal. I thought this was a shot at the title. I thought this was a contendership match, but it turns out it's for the title. Okay. It's going to be 19 other people. I am not a fan of battle royals. So, may the best man win, I guess. Willow Nightingale is going to be pulling double duty. Duty. She's going to be defending the AEW TBS Championship against Lena Cross. And then will be defending the AEW Women's World Tag Team titles with Harley Cameron and the Babes of Wrath against Megan Bayne and Lena Cross. I think the Babes of Wrath are dropping the titles. I think they're dropping the titles here, and the concept is going to be. I wouldn't be surprised if after Willow's match, the Mega Bad ladies are going to put the hurt down on Willow, and they're going to leave her tattered and battered. And Harley's going to have to try and carry the match as best she can, but she will not be able because she's fighting 2 giant Amazons. So there you go. I think that's how it's going to go. I think that's how it's going to go. I think we're going to have new women's tag team champions, and I'm okay with that. I am such a big Megan Bayne fan. Now that she's had this great 2025, where I think, again, something I'm going to continue to hammer home, I think she is the most improved pro wrestler of 2025, even though there's practically no one talked about it. She has been so good throughout the year. And she's been so good throughout the year. I'm very excited to see what the future holds for her. But I think this is a great moment for her to just like saddle in and get a championship and continue this tag team stuff that she has with Penelope Ford when she's healed, and now Lena Cross, which is a terrific tag team. A terrific tag team. And yes, Mega Cross does work better than Mega Bad. Thank you, Joe Cook Productions. Nice to see you. Welcome to the chat, by the way. Then we have Darby Allin, Orange Cassidy, and Roderick Strong taking on the Dogs. This all came to a head last night on Dynamite, of course, with Roderick Strong coming back to stick up for Orange Cassidy just when we thought he was going to turn on him. This should be fun. And I'm going to tell all of you guys, for all of you who aren't familiar with Dave Finley's work, you just wait until he gets a match where he starts throwing Darby Allin around. He is sneaky strong, and sneaky really fucking strong. He is a strong motherfucker. And you saw it a couple of times last night when he threw Darby with the throwing suplex gimmick, and then when he did the Dominator at the end, and the audience even went, "Oh, yeah." When he was in New Japan, the last 2 years, 18 months that he was there, he really developed a style which I called it the bullying style. He'd bully his opponents. He'd just pummel them and just overpower them, just bully them into submission. And I didn't realize how much I'd be entertained by a David Finley Darby Allin match until that tag team match was announced. And I was like, Christ, these two together would be absolutely fantastic because Darby Allin, his role and what he's best at is getting his ass kicked. And David Finlay, what he's best at is kicking ass. So, let's just go ahead and have these two guys have a feud, it'd just be legitimately awesome. So anyway, it should be a fun match. I'd give the win to the Dogs though, if you ask me. That's what I do, but they'll probably do the it's the pre-show. You want people to be happy and whatnot. We'll probably have the baby faces win. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. And then Big Boom AJ is going to be on the card versus TBA. We still don't know who his opponent is. I've heard, is this true that he's supposed to be on the main card, chat? As I was getting ready, I was going through a few notes and I saw something go by. Is he supposed to be on the main show? It can't be, right? But then again, like there's 4 matches on the pre-show already. That's usually the limit. Plus, one of the 4 matches is a battle royal. Like I've got no use for the Costco guy. Yes, I can't believe he's on the main show. That's what oh my God. Ugh. The women's tag is on the main card. Oh, that's good. That's good. Okay, well listen. I may have got I may have got the pre-show stuff a little mixed up. Big Boom versus Minoru Suzuki. Good for Big Boom. He's moving up. AEW title shot come November. Hit the bricks with that. Battle Royal definitely bleeding into the start of the event, right? Probably. Probably, right? Look, this is a 13-match card, including the pre-show. So, look, we'll see how it all... maybe I did get some of my pre-show stuff wrong, right? Because the Battle Royal will be... It has to be somewhat long, right? It cannot not be long. It won't be something quick. And then Willow versus Lena, and then the Babes of Wrath and Mega Cross. And then, there's something here that's going to end up on the... There's probably going to be more matches on the main card than we think. Big Boom versus Mystico. Now, come on. We got that kind of talk. People get banned for lesser indiscretions. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Those are my predictions for and the breakdown, the preview of AEW Revolution 2026 stack card. I'm excited for it. It should be great. I'm very much looking forward to it. That being said, programming note, Monday night, there will be no stream. The typical Monday night stream will be canceled because that's where I'm going to be recording my AEW Revolution review, which will be available in early access to members of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel. So if you want to get the AEW Revolution review before everyone else does on the typical podcast, well, you know what you got to do. You got to sign up. You got to join, hit that join button and become a member of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel. That way you'll get the review right there Monday evening. But in the meantime, just make a note of it. No stream on Monday. So we'll be back streaming next Thursday. There you go. There you go. Let's start up some music and start wrapping it up here. Maybe the Battle Royal. Oh, we read that. We read that. Is there anything else? Anything else quality that we didn't say? To be fair, I can't rate anyone for how they look versus Darby because everyone looks incredible versus Darby Allin. Yes, this is true. This is very true. Mr. Warren, you have a good look and voice. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm no expert, but you should consider acting. Oh, brother. I revealed not that long ago that I used to do improv, and the chat had a field day making fun of me. All right. Well, listen, I do hope that everyone has a lovely weekend since we're right down that path. I hope everyone has a lovely weekend. We had a good time tonight, didn't we? Man, I was on one tonight. I was excited. I was into it. It was a good one. So thank you, everyone. I appreciate it tremendously. If you're first time here, consider subscribing to the channel, of course. That way you won't miss a thing. And remember to do the bell gimmick. And if you want to show a little support, get in on the early access stuff, hit the join button and become a member of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel. That would also be very appreciated. And there you go. I'll be back very soon with the Dynamite, with the Revolution review, probably on Monday, as I mentioned, and then back with another live stream on Thursday, but not before the Mr. Warren Hayes Show proper on Wednesday and the AEW Dynamite review next Thursday. So, still keeping busy, still hanging around. And if you miss me, come find me on Blue Sky at MrWarrenHayes.show or join the Mr. Warren Hayes Show Discord. Link is in the description. There you go. There you go. We need to play an opening thought starter game before the next stream. Oh no. I've left all of that behind. I don't want to do that anymore. No, thank you. That's fine. That's fine. I was good at it for a while, and then I stopped being good at it. And then I stopped doing improv. I couldn't take the hint. Thank you, everyone, for showing up again. I hope you all have a lovely rest of your week. Take it easy, be safe, and I'll see you next time.